What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. This is episode 2 of the Road to 400 series that I'm working on. We left off episode 1 with an average of 273 feet of distance, I believe. Again, the field that I'm using is 5 to 8 feet uphill from where I'm throwing, so everything's probably 10 to 15 feet further than what these distances actually are. I'm still working on finding a flat field to actually throw in. So this episode, I'm just going to do 2 rounds of tech disc and then field work, see what the numbers are looking like. I'll go over this once I get out to the field, but I'm really focusing on a full reach back because looking at the first videos that I did in episode 1, my reach back is definitely a little short. So full reach back and then making sure my head is staying in a neutral position when I'm pulling through with the disc. So a lot of times I'm looking forward, which is collapsing the power pocket and then contributing to a nose up angle. So just keeping that head neutral. Anyway, we'll get out in the field, get on the tech disc, see where the numbers are at, and go from there. Back out here at the field with the tech disc, and then I'm going to throw some full shots after this and see how that goes. So going from the first episode and getting nose down, or really focusing on nose down, now I noticed I'm not reaching back fully, so not a full reach back, and then I'm looking forward too early when I'm pulling through. So looking forward, collapsing this power pocket, and then throwing this nose up a little bit. So this episode is really going to be focused on getting the full reach back, keeping my head pretty neutral, so looking forward, not looking the direction I'm throwing, just keeping my head pretty neutral and driving that elbow through and letting my momentum carry the rest of my body around. So I'm going to throw 5 shots here. We'll see what the numbers look like. And then I'm going to throw a full set of 25, I think, and take the averages. We'll get back in the garage and look at those. I won't make you watch all 25 throws, but we'll just do probably 5 here and then see what the average of a set of 25 is. So again, full reach back, keep the nose down, and then keep the head neutral. Felt like I was leaning back a little bit on that one. Nose is at 1.3, launch is at 5.5, speed's up, which is good. Just need to get that nose down. I don't even know if my head was neutral in that one. That felt better. Let's see. Yeah, nose was nose down, 0.8 degrees. Launch was 5.4. Yeah, that's good. Curious what this looks like when I go back and look at the video. Yeah, nose down again. Really, the big difference is it just feels more explosive with keeping my head pretty straight. Like, it feels like I can get a lot more power driving through that power pocket. Nose was 0.7 nose up that time, but speed was higher. One more, and then I'll throw the other 20. Ah, 3.1 nose up that time. I could feel that one was nose up. Launch was a little flatter also. Speed's up to 54. So, happy with that. Those are the first 5 on the tech disc today. So, coming out with the first 5 throws and knowing I can keep it relatively nose down except for that last throw is encouraging. So I'll throw 20 more and then we'll throw some full shots out in the field and see what it looks like with actually getting real discs out there and flying. All right, so I'll go over this now because I can get all the averages. So 25 throws, my average speed was 54 miles an hour. The average spin was 942, which is a little low, but it's okay. Not really focused on that right now. Wobble average was 6.0 degrees, which is better than that first set that I did in the first video. I think it was up to like 9 or 11 or something like that. Hyzer, everything average 7.4 degrees Hyzer, which I'm fine with. I'd like that again between probably 7 and 9, so that's perfect right there. Nose angle, average of the 25 was 0.9 degrees nose up. I had a few that were 6 degrees nose up, and then not really any that were super nose down. So those couple that were super nose up kind of skewed all that a little bit higher. If you eliminate those 2 or 3 that were 6 degrees nose up, I probably averaged close to flat or even a little bit under. So happy with the nose angle, just need to get that more consistent. Everything was probably between 2 degrees nose down and about probably 1.5 to 2 degrees nose up. So got that range a lot smaller than what it was. Still need to push it average nose down some, but I'm okay with that for now. Launch angle was 4.2 degrees up, and then, oh, I guess that's it. So averages of everything I think came down a little bit. Still need to just push that nose angle down consistently, but we'll get out in the field. We'll see how those numbers do with actually throwing real discs and go from there. All right, so I was in a little bit of a rush trying to get the drone up in the air because I didn't have much battery left on it and never filmed a section for an intro for fieldwork. So this is just going to work the same thing as the first episode. It was 10 throws, take out the top 2 and bottom 2, average the middle 6, and get an average distance from there. So we'll get back in the garage after this and look at the numbers and compare them to the first episode. It's on a lot of Hyzer and a little nose up. There we go. You can definitely tell, or I can definitely tell when I throw nose up versus neutral or nose down. Just see the top of the flight plate. Yank that one a little bit, but it's down there. That's low. All right. Straighten these out a little bit. That's better. Probably a little nose up still, but it's close to 300 feet. Couple Hyzer flips here. That's down there. That came out nose up, I think. Still down there, though. Last one. Getting further out there, I can, I think, tell from here. That was a little nose up, but... Alright, fieldwork numbers. So, overall, my average for fieldwork and those distances was 282 feet. So, up about 10 feet from the last episode. Happy with that. I did notice, looking back at the video and when I was out there in the field, a lot of my shots were still coming out nose up because they would go out, they would rise, and then they would crash over on a pretty good hyzer. So I still need to work on the nose down, but it does feel a lot better getting the full reach back and then keeping my head neutral. Again, head neutral is something newer that I'm working on, so I know some of those I started looking up more, which probably contributed to that nose up. So I'm going to work on that for a while here. I'll get back out there again, hopefully in the next week or so, another tech disc session, another fieldwork session, see where we end up with these numbers for the end of this episode. Alright, so I had to voice over this part because for some reason the audio didn't work when I was doing the tech disc stuff this day. So same as before, I threw 25 throws into the net with the tech disc. The average of those throws speed was 53.1 miles an hour. The spin was 947 RPMs. The wobble was 5.6 degrees. Hyzer angle was 6 degrees of Hyzer. Nose angle was 0.1. So that's a big one that um, I noticed with that session is my nose angle is a lot flatter consistently. Looking at the chart or the stats on those 25 throws, my nose angle as I go gets more and more nose up. I don't know if that's because I'm trying to throw harder or really what it is. But as I'm throwing, my nose angle seems to increase. My most nose down was negative 4.2 degrees this day, and that was, it looks like, my third or fourth throw. And then by the end, by the 25th throw, I was back to like 1 to 2 degrees nose up. So really just focusing on that nose down is still the big point so far that I can tell. But average was 0.1, so a lot better than it has been. Launch angle was 4.9 degrees positive launch angle. I like to get that probably up to 7 degrees, averaging somewhere around there. Again, that has to be combined with the nose down, um, which I need to get more consistent with. But those were the stats for the tech disc session this day. Then I threw 10 out in the field here, same as before, taking out the top two, bottom two, and averaging the middle. Uh, and I'll have a recap of this fieldwork session here, the last clip here. But overall, form feels better than it has been with keeping that nose down and just getting more consistent with that. As you can see with that throw, I pulled a couple off to the right. I think that's just because of the anhyzer that I feel like I'm putting the disc on. It looks like most of them are still coming out hyzer, but I'm just pulling them off to the right a little bit, so need to figure that out. Otherwise, good session. All right, so I ended up just doing the averages while I was out here in the field. The average taking out those top two throws and those bottom two throws ended up being 301 feet, which is great. Now that I'm that average over 300 feet is kind of what I was going for today's session. I had a throw out to 317 and 319, and then the shortest one was 273, which is still above the average from the first episode by probably 20 feet. So distances are going up. I can still tell that some of my throws are coming out nose up, and my head still, I have a tendency to look forward before I'm fully through with the power pocket and the elbow. So still working on that. That's probably what I'll be doing over the next 2 weeks. I think this is where a lot of people get in trouble when they're working on form, is trying to change a bunch of different things all at once, and then you're thinking about 10 different cues and not really doing any of them very well. So the two cues I'm working on is just head neutral, nose down for the next couple weeks. We'll see where we are starting the next episode. Yeah, thanks for watching this one, and we'll see you later.